Welcome to another video. We are gonna see how we can detect clashes within CATIA V5 assemblies. Now, before I get started, make sure that you also check my last video regarding section analysis, because within section analysis we can also visualize the clashes. As we can see over here, the clashes will be indicated like this, and with red it will be the area where those components will overlap. Now, regarding clashes within CATIA V5, we can enable the clash at the bottom, so the clash check feature, and we're gonna see what are the options for this. So we can search for contact plus clash, clearance, contact and clash, authorized penetration, also clash rule. For this case study, we are going to take a look at clearance, contact and clash for the drone assembly. And over here we can also designate what are the components. So we can see inside one selection, selection against all, between all components. This will take into account everything that is selected. Or we can go with something like between two selections. And afterwards we're going to have selection 1. For example, I will choose the propeller, and afterwards selection 2, I can choose a different component. In this case, for example, I will center the graph on this one. I will choose the motor part, and afterwards I can click on apply, and we're gonna see that clearance between those two, we see the value of 0.5. Also, we're going to have a preview window that will pop up like this. But we want to see the clashes between all the components. I'm going to go with between all components. Therefore, the selections will be grayed out. That means that everything within the open assembly will be added over here. I'm going to click apply. Now, since the drone has multiple components, this will take a few seconds to process. As we can see, CATIA is computing the product. Afterwards we're going to have a list. The list will be like this. So we have clearance. For each of those, if you're going to select the specific clearance between two components, we're going to see that we can visualize those. Now, for this case study, I already closed that preview window, so we are no longer going to have that preview. Therefore, it's important to click on this result window. Afterwards, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. And again, if I will double click on something, I will be able to visualize that. So keep this in mind when you are working with clash analysis. With that preview window, if you're going to close it, you can reopen it over here within the result window, and afterwards you can again tile the views, for example vertically, just like we did within the section analysis video. And over here we're going to see that by double clicking a specific component, we're going to have the marked over here area with green, but also within the original viewport. So we see the clash between this motor and the left arm. Now, we have the possibility to sort the elements over here. For example, I want to check everything that has clash, so overlapping parts. And again, I'm going to see that these two components will clash on that value, so 12.6 millimeters. Each clash has to be selected, and then CATIA will add the value over here. We see for this assembly we have a total of 118 elements, so 35 clashes, contact 37, and 46 clearance. Now let me also search for a clearance in order to highlight one of those. So we see over here that clearance with a low value, but we're going to have even larger values, such as we see over here. So we have that clearance indicated from the inside rotary elements and the outer case on that 4 millimeter distance. Now we can also sort all the conflicts by product. So the first one is list by conflict, the second one will be list by product. And as we can see, this will be between part motor 3, which is this engine from the drone, and all the associated, let's say, clashes and interference. We see that CATIA will now try to load those, so I will leave it a few seconds in order to process that selection. What is important is that, as we can see, all the elements have been imported, so the drone has been opened using a step file. I will also put the link in the video description so you can download the drone. It's from GrabCAD. I made use of this drone in various videos. For example, let me show you exactly that link. So we see the GrabCAD link over here, and this will be the drone. So over here we also have the author of the drone. So all the clashes for motor part 3 have been loaded, and as we can see, it has clashes with all those elements. So motor part 2 again. So the bottom half of this, the top part of that. And you can check for all of those. So in this case, these are all clearances for the motor. But for others, we're gonna have as well as clashes or contact. We can go over here and filter them in order to highlight all the interference. And we're gonna see that the list will be expanded. Over here, we're gonna have a clash. And we're gonna also have a contact. So those two are position one above the other component. Usually with contact there aren't, let's say, major problems regarding collisions, but in some cases, depending on the material, you need to take that into account as well. We also have the possibility to go over here and visualize the matrix of this. I'm gonna make the window larger in order to better visualize this. So we're gonna see the components will be positioned over here, as well as on the top section. We're gonna see motor part 3 has interference with motor 1. If I'm gonna double click on this, I should be able to visualize that. So I have the possibility to change the status, and I can also select it, and within the viewport we're gonna see that this will be active, so we can see exactly what is that clearance. We can change the status like this. So change status should make it green. Or we can add a command. For example, need to remodel. And keep in mind that that command will only be listed over here within as a command. So within the matrix we won't be able to see that, but afterwards we can have this exported as a text file or a Microsoft Excel or something like that file. Within this matrix we can also visualize them a little bit faster. For example, we're going to see the left arm with the motor, which will have that clearance over here. Again, we can add a command just like the last one. We can change that status. If I'm going to right click, change status, we're going to see that it will be marked as green. Okay, so I hope that you find this video useful. You can check clashes like this. I usually prefer to have them listed by conflict and filter them at the top, depending on it's either a clash, a contact, or clearance. So I hope that you find this video useful. I will leave a similar video over here to the left, and to the right I will position a subscribe button, so consider to subscribe if you like this content. Thanks for watching.